Hey guys, we're live. It's Sunday at 7. We're here. You know what that means? Mischief. We have a
Yeah.
special guest here tonight, along with our good friend Tools and Tactics. I'm Robert, Tools with Souls, and that man over there
I gotta figure out
is
which has camera
Joshua
cards.
Wilson.
There you go.
You
How's
may
everybody
know
doing?
him from comment fame, and he is here tonight. But our very first, uh, guest. I don't want to say like subscriber that's been on, but like guest that's been on. I want to say it that way. Robert G. Thank you for being a channel member and showing up tonight. We appreciate you as always. Cody Brown, Juan, Dan B, Jamie True, and Robert Walton. I hope you're all doing well, better than you deserve. So Mr. Wilson came up with an idea that he emailed me a little over a week ago, I want to say.
About that.
And he had a great idea. And I had been wanting to bring on members of, for lack of a better phrase, the audience for a while.
Yeah.
Because I say it all the time, this channel's not about me. I am just the vehicle with which runs it. Thank you, Jay Rodriguez. So we thought, just for fun, we would start bringing you guys on, and he is the very first guest, and we're very happy to have him. He is a supporter of the channel and just a good dude. So
Thank you guys.
since you got the name The Dude,
The dude's on live.
just introduce yourself and tell them what we're going to do tonight.
You guys have seen me in the chat. Probably I've been following you guys for about a year now, maybe a little bit less. Love the family, the chat that goes on, and everyone that's kind of involved with this. So I've had a love for tools since I can remember, being probably 4 or 5 years old, playing with a rotary hammer. I probably wasn't supposed to be, to all the way to now. This is the most camaraderie I've ever found in anything on YouTube. I don't go too much on social media, but this gives me something to look forward to. So with that being said, I think tonight's idea would be cool. Blurring lines of tool brands. What's the best of each category versus what's the best brand? If you're in a single brand, you're pigeonholed into believing that everything that they have, regardless of how well it performs, is for you. I just want to kind of get people engaged, get the input of what's the best out of each category. Hammer drills, impacts, impact wrenches. Let's just have a full blown discussion on it.
And I love it.
Yeah, couldn't have said that better myself.
Well, thank you guys, and I'm going to rely on you guys to carry it through, and I'll just be here for useless commentary.
Well, if you can bust our chops a little bit, that'd be great.
You're the pro at that, so we'll stand in line. Absolutely well.
Whatever you come with, expect a comeback. That's what I've come to learn.
Right. Sometimes your comeback is just a laugh, so I'll learn that. The chuckle.
I mean, he is cleaning the Hubble his glasses right now. So, Mr. Tactics over there, the user of errors, what's going on with you? And then we'll get right into this.
Fun fact before we get started. First off, since you're new here, I want you to point to Tools with Souls.
Opposite direction.
Just point to him.
Yeah, okay.
How you did it? You figured it out. Yeah, you literally got to point left.
Like this,
point right. Yeah. If you're talking to somebody, just think which side of the
right.
And then the other thing, the user or errors at the bottom. That or was actually supposed to be of, and it was actually an error. So we just rolled with it.
This makes sense. The people who know you, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Says to me. I don't know.
Souls is over there having puppies right now. So
it's true.
Did you edit it just now?
Again about how great Makita is. I'll tell you what, the first Makita tool that they make that's great will be the first Makita tool that they make that's great.
Hang on, are these the Constellation here? Because they don't actually make them. Hang on, I got some rope.
He's got his kidnapping kit.
Just in case the house situation doesn't go so well. It's for the tree. It's not for me. And we got
okay.
Soul's favorite here.
If you guys
Now,
look back
these are undeniably good.
this way, where is it?
And I didn't need Project Farm to tell me these were good either. I knew these were good just by using them. What what's your thought?
Of the Makita bits?
Yeah.
Makita doesn't actually make their own bits, so it is something that qualifies as being okay.
I'm a fan of the XPS.
Now,
I used to buy the Makita Gold.
Do not buy the Makita. This is right into the conversation. Just because they make good bits, they do not make good of these. This will shear right here every time on a Makita.
Okay.
3 times faster than this will.
All right.
And I think the DeWalt's are better, but they're out of stock at Home Depot.
Okay.
Well, here's one. If I can get out of the way to figure out which way to point, there is a Makita tool back here, way back there.
So it's coming out day on Tools with Souls.
All of a sudden, my screen goes black. I don't know if Makita really does much with actually making that compressor, but I love that thing, and it's probably one of the only Makita tools I have.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't know if how much they actually put into that, or if they just stamp a name on it and a color.
Yeah.
That's the color.
Is that one cordless?
That's the cordless Makita.
It's corded. Yeah, it's corded.
That's
it
looks
that's
like
an
an awesome
cordless
compressor. It's double tank, right?
Yeah, and it's a quiet series.
Yeah, that is a really good compressor, actually.
Yeah, no, I haven't had any issues with it. I've had it for 4 or 5 years now. I don't use it all the time.
I want to put the background for you. I've got like the Central Pneumatic or whatever, the big black one from Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
That's the only compressor I use. It's the only one I have. And I use it like, I was only using it 1 time a year. Now it's up to like 3.
He's splurging on it.
Yeah, I'd much rather use cordless. They're much easier to operate.
Less stuff to lug around.
Instantaneous power.
This isn't new, but the Diablo.
Yeah.
I've got a Bosch with the blue, very similar. Does anybody know if this is magnetic? I know this one is.
No idea.
I have one, but you deal with check quicker than I could.
We're trying them out. We just got back from Home Depot.
So you guys know, you've been here on this channel. I believe that any tool brand, you have to get the core right. And the core for me is a drill driver, impact driver. And that if those two aren't right, there's no sense of buying into the line.
Yep.
So with that being said, what do you guys think? Especially you guys in the chat, who makes the best drill? And then we're talking about reliability, power, speed, ergonomics, like all around. And I know there's going to be some weird teal fans out there, but who, in your opinion, makes the best one? Now, while they're typing that in, because there's about a 10 to 15 second delay from when they hear us, or from when you hear me to when they hear us.
They hear us, yeah.
All right. So, Joshua, what do you think is the best drill on the market today?
I'd say Milwaukee M18 if I had to choose one as the core. I'd go Milwaukee M18. It's only one of my Milwaukee tools from M18 that I couldn't part with. I got rid of just about everything else, but couldn't part with that as being the centerpiece.
I understand. Tactics.
I'm going to go with, man, the DeWalt, the 998. Just being an electrician, the hammer drill is really close to being as good as the Flex. It's got enough power. It's more comfortable than anything really.
Mhm.
Metabo's pretty comfortable too.
Oh yeah.
It's all around. It's a solid tool.
Man, I am put in the unenviable position to tell you guys that you're both right, because it's a personal preference thing.
Right.
What I think of a brand doesn't really matter to me. I mean, we've got Metabo, Milwaukee, Hilti. That's what people are answering in the chat, and you're all right. I personally, if I had to go out into the field today and I needed a good all around drill that's going to give me speed, power, and performance and comfort, especially because I'm a bigger guy, I'm going to take the Flex. And I'm going to pair that Flex with a 6 amp-hour lithium stack or pouch cell battery because I want the speed. I know it'll tear through concrete like no one's business. That turbo feature is hard to beat. And that battery, while heavy, gives it an increase in performance that very few tools could match.
That battery set's great.
What's that?
The batteries from Flex are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you got to let the people know whenever the good and the bad. And something good happened with Flex the other day. My buddy called me and he was like, "Hey, man, I finally picked up a Flex." I said, "Oh, yeah, what do you think?" He said, "Well, first, let me tell you about it." So he got the Impact, and he managed to get the one with the quick eject chuck. And he went to Lowe's and got it for $50. And it was like an open box or something. And it came with a battery that when he put it on the charger, it started flashing. Didn't work. And that's why it was $50. So he went to go call to register, and the lady was like, "Well, what's the model number of the battery?" Because when you register your charger, your battery, and your tool. Yep. Or whatever comes in the kit. And if you have the kit, you have to register them all. You can't just pick and choose. Like I've got so many 5 amp-hour batteries that I tried to not register them, and it wouldn't let me. So then I had to figure out which battery I owned. I had to go down the whole list because I mixed them all up, and I had like 10 5 amp-hour batteries. Anyway, the lady was like, "Well, it says it comes with a 6," and he was like, "Yeah, but it doesn't work." She was like, "But the tool is new." He's like, "Yeah, but I got it for $50. That was part of the deal." She said, No. We're gonna send you a new battery. So they sent him a brand new 6 amp-hour stacked lithium battery with his Flex for $50. Yeah, that's insane, man. That's good customer service. And my interactions with Flex have been very similar, and they let him keep the old battery.
Right.
I can't say the same, but I think I'm going on 5 months since I broke their drill and reported
they haven't gotten back to you?
No emails yet.
They said they were going to email us some info.
I haven't called them back either, so it's maybe on me at some point.
I had a real good experience with DeWalt for battery replacement. They kind of no questions asked. I just sent them the pictures of the model numbers, and they're like, "Okay." Luckily for me, the Stanley Black & Decker, one of their main distribution centers, is like a mile from the house. Yeah. So she tells me, 2 to 3 weeks, and 2 days later, they're knocking at the door. "Here's your stuff." So
that's pretty sweet.
Very good by DeWalt. I've never had to use any warranty, extended warranty, anything like that before. But I was like, let's see what all the hype's about. Kind of a chance to try it. So it was a really good experience.
That's awesome. I like to hear stuff like that.
Right.
I never registered anything except for Flex.
Yeah. While we're finishing this up, why don't you guys in the chat, Impact? Who makes the best Impact? That's a big one, especially in today's modern construction, because you're probably using your Impact as more in the modern field than you are your drill.
Right.
All right. So Jack Lacaz, Jeremy, Howie Z, you're funny. Dan B, the 850 Impact paired with a 1.7 power stack. I do like that combo.
That's my favorite combo right there.
You too?
Yeah. I agree with you when you say that they haven't nailed it on an Impact yet.
Right.
It's spot on. Sorry, I it's
still
spot
sunny.
on. Yeah, it's still sunny over here. Go ahead. It's spot on when you say that. That impact, they haven't nailed it with the impact driver yet. They've got some decent ones, some good ones, but the 850 size wise with the 1.7 is my go-to, just because
That's
of
game changing. Yeah.
just good
Yep.
weight.
I'm going to say this, and for me, I'm the biggest rigid guy on YouTube. I want to say probably the most rigid friendly channel on YouTube. That new 4 mode is absolutely incredible. It'll dominate anything that Makita or DeWalt has, and I'm still going to go with a Milwaukee. I'm still going to take that probably the Gen 3.5.
I love that one too.
I put a 3.0 high output battery on that sucker. Perfect. It literally is perfect.
Right. That it was hard for me to choose the 850 over that, because I like the 3.5 over the 4. I mean, the 4's got the cool lights. Hey, don't get me wrong, but I like the 3.5 better than the 4 from Milwaukee.
Sure. Yeah. I'd like. But I mean, my favorite one of all time is the Rigid Stealth Force, just because it's quiet and I don't have to like have my ears bleed when I'm using these things, because they do hurt your ears after a while. You do get used to it, but it's something you don't want to get used to.
Right.
Huh.
Well, we were doing a rewiring a trailer, one of my crews at work the other day. We're using an impact underneath that thing, and it was terrible. It was just like, OSHA said, what? Approved hearing, what? It was awful. I wish at that point I would have either had a surge or a stealth.
Gabriel, I can answer you this way. Chad Nichols, glad to have you here as always. So yeah, the triple hammer is exceptionally nice, especially the 18 volt. It's very comfortable to use. It's not as loud, which is one of the things that I do like in an impact. It's gonna do exactly what you need. So the people that said that, you're right. I know Juan said that. I'm still a fan of the old brush DeWalt impact. I set too many DeWalt impacts on fire that I can't really say DeWalt. I mean, I literally burnt the 840 to the ground.
Right. So did I too, and it never even left the shop. Like, I didn't take it on a job yet, and we burnt it up. Now, granted, we were doing a little bit of crazy stuff too, but nothing like insane yet. So I would have said the 840 and the Power Stack pair, but I don't trust the 840.
No, for me. I come back to the same problem I've had with the DeWalt impacts since I can remember. They don't perform. They don't perform as well as other brands. They don't keep up. Anything that they have that's not like analog, I don't trust the
switches.
The switches
on
it.
That's why I like the 850 so much.
Right. Yeah. And it's not a knock on DeWalt. It's not a knock on DeWalt, because I love a lot of their stuff. Like, I really love it. William Brody, how you doing? Rodney Widger, glad to have you here. Kansas Handy, glad you could make it. I love a lot of the DeWalt stuff, and I'm not knocking the brand at all. But when it comes to impacts and when it comes to drills, they don't have the core 100% right for me.
Right. No, I agree with that. I mean, I think the 800 and the 805 with the 850, those two in a combo together aren't the greatest. They're not headliners. Yeah. I mean, they're good, for what they are. Like I said, my personal preference is the 850, but having them together, I'm not writing home about that kit. I'm not ranting and raving. All the time about that kit. I like it, but I don't feel comfortable enough to say, yes, everyone go buy this immediately. It's not standing out.
What's up, East Coast Can? One of the things that I like, you've never heard me tell anybody on this channel to go out buy something. unless it's like, hey, it's a good deal. If you're, and as far as I go, I'm like, hey, if you're in need, go get it.
Right.
Yeah.
To me, all of them are personal preference. Every brand, every tool, everything. Buy what works for you. It's all personal preference. Doesn't matter to me. Even if you buy teal, first of all, I'm going to question your mental capabilities. But still, I will say it. And I mean, I'm not limiting these guys. They can say Makita if they want. I don't really care what anybody uses. Just for me, they don't work. I mean, I showed you. I showed the why I can't use the 40-volt Makita impact driver.
Yeah, it doesn't fit you.
No, it's not a common problem.
Yeah, and it was 40-volt of all things. You think it'd be?
Yeah, when you're wrapping your finger around the battery, it's probably not comfortable.
They have the real estate for that.
Yeah,
it's a big enough tool.
Yeah, and Kansas Andy said it all gets the job done. You're too rough. Be more gentle. Anthony, I'm not that kind of guy. So that we went through the drill, we went through the impact. I think the next one that we have to look at is circ saw, and it can be. Again, we're going to go through the list of what is used at the job site. So circ saw would be the next most common.
Hang on. One thing I want to mention before we get off of impacts. Joshua Wilson sent me the Metabos, right? This is the first time I've used Metabo. Sent me the 36-volt hammer drill. Have you ever tried to use a hole saw? You're cutting a door and you make it halfway through, the thing bogs down, and then you can't finish the whole hole. You know what I mean? And dude, that drill last night, I took an 1 1/8 bit through a 2x4. I tried the Milwaukee M12 and it was like,
it was screaming at you.
You know, and it wasn't happy. And I was like, whatever, I'll give this a go. And it never stopped. It never bogged down. I expected it to like lock up or maybe stall or something, you know what I mean? Just start spinning, but not getting any work done, and nothing, dude. It was just like, it's like straight through. But the triple hammers are on the next level of comfort because you don't realize how little vibration. I always said they felt like a surge.
Right.
When you're driving, man, there's no vibration on your arm, which I could care less about vibrations on anything. It's just be in the field for a long time, and that just becomes.
He likes the extra vibration of the drill dough from Makita.
Yeah, get the attachment.
Frog in my throat. Sorry about that.
Excuse me. But don't lie.
Well, I ran that Metabo 36-volt hammer drill. I bought the DeWalt. I don't know if it's the flex volt, but it's the 20-volt one. But it's the stud and joist drill. And I was going through. We're going through tree stumps, and you have to drill, at least a 6-inch hole with we use like a 7/8 auger bit. And this stud and joist drill has the E-clutch, so if it moves, it stops.
Yeah.
And once you get about, an inch or two down, it stops. You can't get that. You have to start all over again. So I decided I actually went home from work, grabbed the Metabo, and went to town. And it didn't stop, didn't smoke, it didn't bog down, straight through. And the guy's looking like, that's half the size of the stud and joist drill. And that DeWalt was killing batteries. I mean, I'm going through 8 amp hour batteries in 15 minutes.
Oh,
I'm going through them faster than I can charge them. I got the inverter in the back of the truck trying to charge these batteries quickly. I'm like, forget this. Went through the 36-volt, went through 1 4 amp hour, 1 2 amp hour battery. That was it. So
wow.
That was a good test mode for that.
Yeah, Rodney, I agree with you. She doesn't care about vibration. The more she can give it to him, the better. Anyway, that's a snap-on joke. I'm sorry. So for me, when it comes to circ saws, yes, we went to circ saws now.
Yeah,
for me, when it comes to circ saws, I am going to pick the most impressive saw I have ever used. And this is bar none, corded, doesn't matter what brand it is. That Flex rear handle circ saw is nothing short of amazing. It will cut down a building if you need it to. I mean, the thing's just ridiculous.
And for that reason, that's probably why the average person wants to stay away from it, because it has that much power and torque to where you're on that corded level of. For years, you've always had a failsafe built in with these saws where if you put it in a bind, that blade would slow down and the tool would not put out the power. And you can make sketchy cuts with a cordless for years, because if you had plywood in a bind that was starting to, one's going down, one's going up, and you're trying to finish that cut, you didn't have to worry about the thing like kicking back on you or anything. And I found out the other day, dude, that saw is probably stronger than the DeWalt corded that I gave my brother-in-law. It's got some serious power and very unforgiving. It's just like a corded, and you got to do all the safety stuff now, like you would with a corded.
Right.
Yeah.
So the inline for me.
Yeah, no, I go inline too. I don't have the rear handle from Flex. That's the next one I'm going to get. But
yeah,
I don't need for what I mean. I don't really use tools, on the daily. But I don't need all that much power. But I would like to have it, especially before the warranty goes away, for that rear handle. But my favorite's the inline, just because of the way you don't have to worry about what side the material's on to still get that true cut.
Absolutely.
Dude, that inline is so underrated. You can lay it down in the suitcase style, smallest DeWalt T-stack drawers and shut the lid. It's like
Nice.
There's no motor off of the side. It's absolutely impressive.
Well, I like the compact nature.
Right. I think Flex. I mean, their marketing, obviously, as we know, is cockamamie.
Terrible.
But I think that they dropped the ball on that one majorly, because they aren't really advertising that as the biggest feature of it. Every brand has a 6.5, but not one that's in line. When you flip it over, it's the same on both sides.
Right.
Now, I show people all the time in Lowe's, like, this is actually very, very impressive. A belt-driven saw that's in line.
I mean, your car is belt-driven, so you're eliminating all that friction and all that extra heat that a normal motor would. You'd have to have it pack it with grease and have reductions and all that stuff. You're eliminating all that, dude. You're getting torque straight off the motor to a freaking pulley,
right,
to the blade. I mean, it's genius.
Right. No, it's definitely a huge innovation.
Yeah, I do want to recognize Jeremy. He's been talking about his old brush DeWalts and stuff in the chat, and I got to tell you, dude, if they still work, let them work. Let them eat, do what they need to do, dude. I love it. I love to see those old tools being put to work. It's what I grew up using with stuff like that. Heck, I've got a sander from the 1940s that I will still break out and use. And when I tell you that sucker throws sparks out and is hot. Like,
is it a belt is it a block with a sandpaper on it with a rope? Just back and forth.
No, not quite. I used sand back in the day with rope. And that's how we cut the stone for the.
Is that how you made the pyramids?
Yeah. But no, I love those old things. And Jack and Amanda, we're glad to have you both here. Thank you for being here. Is it louder belt? So here's my problem with the belt drive. It's a part to wear out.
Right. That's the downside.
And once that belt wears, once it goes, you've got to send it in, or you got to.
We've seen the challenge of trying to take tools apart.
Real quick, look at this. My phone is trying to die. This is on a faucet underneath the sink.
Are we supposed to be able to see that, you schmuck?
I don't know. My phone's only got 3% battery. My buddy just asked me, "What is this?"
A green thing.
Yeah, I can't really see it.
There you go.
It looks like the underneath to a sink, though.
It's an Amazon special.
Oh no, it died.
Looks like your SOL. That's what it is.
All right.
Tell them, stay tuned for the answer.
Yep. All right. So Did anybody like? I saw 36-volt Metabo, which their new what is it? Their quiet drive motor is what they're calling it.
Oh, with their silent switch.
Yeah, I kind of dig that.
It is a cool idea. Again, another mark of innovation.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that Metabo doesn't get more love. Like
they are grossly underrated. Publicly, I think that people go in there and they think, well, Hitachi had a great reputation beforehand. I mean, maybe not so much of a following in their cordless line, but their nailers and all that stuff are just top notch. And I think when it switched over to Metabo HPT, nobody really knows the German Metabo, but that Metabo HPT line is amazing. I have the multi-tool, I have the recip, I have the rear handle saw, and there's nothing that they won't go through. I actually have another setup with a hammer drill and everything else, but that whole entire brand, that whole line is so slept on that I see $99 on these kits, and I'm like, if only the people knew what they're missing out.
Yeah,
I know, and I fell on them. Like I know of Metabo, I knew of German Metabo, the old red and green. I knew of old German Metabo. Yeah, exactly. The 12-volt line. By the way, Ohio Power Tools always running deals on the 12-volt German Metabo.
I got that for like $50.
Yeah, there you go.
Great drill.
But I kind of fell into it because I got the 36-volt hammer drill on a clearance at Lowe's a few years ago, and it was like $90.
Right.
It was ridiculous. And I was just like, I needed it for one job. I went out, used it, and I was like, oh, comfortable, powerful, heavy. It's a little off balanced.
It's a big boy.
Yeah, it doesn't stand up by itself.
Yeah. Aside from that, I mean, absolute pleasure to use, though. I love using it.
Well, I started my journey with the 10-inch single bevel miter saw, just as a straight throwaway one-time use. I got to build some redwood planter boxes, and I put my brother-in-law works for me, and I put him to make these cuts, and this thing's just screaming, going through these cuts on 2x6s, and he probably cut 200 pieces of material without the thing never stopped. It never gave up the ghost. And I've used it for years since, and I got that thing on clearance sale for $67, and it's made its money 10 times over.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. I love to hear that sort of thing, because like the guys and there are a lot of them, hell, you can just go through my comment section any day.
Haters.
Yeah. Any day. And you will find people that, well, it doesn't cost enough, or you're like, you can't afford Hilti. I'm like, do you really know who you're talking to here?
Buy it just because.
Yep. You've been on the channel for a minute at all, because chances are I got more than you. I want to the last time I checked, I have over 200 power tools in my garage.
Crazy.
And that's just it. I've got a storage building full.
Right.
So I
had to declutter at one point. I was selling those 8-foot folding tables from
Home
Depot, full of tools, each brand, Rigid, DeWalt, Milwaukee. I was just hoarding tools at that point, and they were literally getting in the way of me grabbing another tool. So you go to do something and you're falling over it. It's like, I really need to do something about this. This is becoming a problem. So I, got rid of all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, you having 200 that's crazy.
Well, the funny thing is, there are some that I do not use on screen, like the new Rigid, the 4-mode, and the hammer drill. I bought that intending to never use them on screen.
Right.
That was just going to be like when I have little side jobs or around the house. So I had never even intended on putting them on screen.
Right.
And then I have a lot of tools like that. There a lot of the tools that I have and I keep, they're not to be put on the channel.
Right.
They're actual beater tools that I'm gonna just stomp the crap out of and mistreat. Like I'll throw a drill off the roof just to save me from carrying it down.
Right.
Like I'm just like, aim for the mud.
Dodge the concrete.
I'm just saying. But a lot of these guys are like, oh, you've got to, they know this name on the side of the tool. They don't know anything else.
No. And I think that's becoming a major problem nowadays is there's so many people pushing promotions that where's the real world application on it? And I think that it's a promotional game. It's a PR game more than it is an actuality of tradesmen. Or, I mean, even you can get a weekend warrior with a more reputable review on a power tool than somebody on TikTok who has no idea what they're talking about. Those are the ones in the comments fighting other people who are putting up real tests, and it's like what you guys do. It's a communication. It's not a this is the best tool. I have it, and you have. If you don't have it, you're a sucker. You need to buy it. I'm showing you guys the numbers. I'm showing you guys in real time the tests. I don't care what color it is, but so many people out there with that influence just saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to throw this out here because they're paying me to," and that's it. And then everyone else follows in suit.
Yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why I don't follow a lot of the bigger channels on YouTube, because a lot of those guys are now paid spokesmen. They're not really free to say what they want about a tool or a tool brand or whatever. And for me, it's just a tool. I know I make fun of Makita, but if Makita had a good tool that wasn't a coffee maker made for my house, for my wife, I would say so.
They got a microwave.
Oh, they got microwaves?
Yeah.
Nothing says I'm for a homeowner like a coffee maker and a microwave. I'm just saying.
Baby poop color new line of tools. There you go.
Yes. Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Perfect.
You know what?
Right.
You know what? They envied Ryobi so much they decided to copy him.
Yeah, they mixed colors with them.
Even a shade darker.
Well, I used to follow a certain channel, 3 letters, starts with V, ends in G. Oh. And that's kind of how I got really and way back when the channel was really good, but for the past 3 to 4 years, it's complete spokesperson. It's buy this, buy that, all these great deals and stuff, and it's so far from genuine. It's such a turnoff to be. I'm not going to watch this because I already know what's going to happen to it.
She does heated blankets now too.
I'm just going to say this. I hate the brand so much that in my mind, I changed it from Makita to Chiquita. Rodney,
12 volts out.
Renegade's Garage is here. I always like to give him a shout out because he's another one of the really cool dudes here on YouTube.
Right.
I encourage everybody to go watch his stuff. If you like what you see, stay and subscribe and support him.
That's how I found him.
If you don't like it, what he does, talk to him. He's open and honest, and just be courteous, be kind. I would hope you'd do the same for any of us.
Right.
So by all means, go support him if you want. I know I will. And East Coast Ken, former Marine, in the chat. By all means, also go support him as well. He's got a channel, and he's doing all kinds of stuff over there. So there you go. Now we talked about
how many subs you got now, East Coast.
I saw that Renegades hit like 5,000 or 6,000 the other day, which is
Renegades.
He just went over 5. That's good.
That's all. Thought Makita cordless coffee maker was for the job site. Only if you're the blower. I need to wash the taste out of my mouth.
Where's that coffee maker?
Yeah. It's got to be the instant coffee maker.
Guys put their mouth.
That's great. All right, recip saw.
Recip saw. What are you guys thinking? What's the best recip saw out there for
one-handed flex? By far.
Good.
One-handed flex.
I'm
all right.
thinking about that one.
You know, what's second would be the DCS A3B DeWalt. It's XR, but it's short.
Just like you. And I'm not talking about your height.
Let me see how much to get this one out.
6,070 now. Damn. I can answer this one while you're looking.
All right, let me look at what we got here. I want to get the model number right.
I'm going to tell you now. It's the Rigid Megamax.
The Virgin.
I'm cheating. I'm cheating with this one because I'm 27 subs and no content again. Well, congratulations, BWs. That's what she said. Yes. The Rigid Megamax. So I am cheating here because it's a recip saw, it's a right angle drill, and it's a rotary hammer. But that thing is so strong, so powerful, so reliable. It's hard to beat. I wish they continued to make it, but obviously because it was stronger than the Milwaukee Whole Hog,
right?
They couldn't let that go. So not the fastest. It is not the fastest. It is quite heavy, but I like the idea of the versatility that came with it, and it being a recip saw. That's the one I'm going to go with.
I'm going to go with the DeWalt, the 20 volt XR. I can't find it in my.
Is it the newer, shorter one that?
Yeah, the one that you reviewed.
Yeah, that's the DCS 38 whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that one is great because
it's impressive. It's got a lot of power.
It's for the size. You think like, okay, this will get the job done, but when you start using that thing, it runs. It
does. It's a good saw.
Yeah, I see some of the Milwaukee Sawzall. I think everybody likes or appreciates the Sawzall.
Fan favorite.
Yeah, and William Wilson at BW's Electronic says the DeWalt Flex Volt. Chad Nicholas with the 36 volt. Metabo is a monster. I think all of the 36 volts from Metabo is phenomenal.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a really big saw too. But it doesn't stop for anybody.
Yeah. Oh, it is. And on a recip saw, I do want a little weight.
Right.
It's going to help my cutting, and it's going to take some of the vibration out. So it's just kind of like a home protective device. The bigger it is, the less it goes through you. You know what I'm saying? Anthony Gant says Ryobi for recip saw.
Oh.
I'm not going to argue with you. If that's the best for you, that's the best for you. God bless you. Well, Stephen R. said, I just got the recip saw. It's amazing. I don't know which recip saw he's referring to. And of course, Rodney says he uses his corded, although I'm surprised he doesn't have the Cobalt.
Right. He's a Cobalt guy. Well, I think when you go into Home Depot, and if you're just not even just starting out, even if you're just looking for a good roundabout set of tools, I mean, personally, I wouldn't get into them, but Ryobi, their presence is huge in Home Depot. Yeah. I mean, they go all the way from OPE out in garden to all the end caps. I know you've covered it half dozen times. What their presence looks like in Home Depot, from end cap to center aisle, and it's organized and it's there. Yeah, and they come out with more tools than they can probably spit press releases at. So if you're going into Home Depot, you're looking for something. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
That is very true. But I'm going to drop a little bit of news on everybody.
Let's hear it. I set you up.
All right. So Milwaukee guys, you may need to unzip your pants for this one. Milwaukee is going to come out with 900 brand new tools and accessories this year. Calendar year 2023. As a matter of fact, I want to say in May, they're going to start dropping their hand tools in store.
Yep.
In 2 weeks, they're going to have a demo in Des Moines, Iowa.
Well, so you're breaking the hinges off of people's laptops. So
right.
Just slow down. They're not meant to bend fully backwards that way.
All of a sudden, people went to Google.
And
be a lot of tool addicts with screen repair requests.
Thank you, Sal Flores. So he said I got him hooked on Rigid, and he's been using Rigid's the best value in the tool world today.
Absolutely, I think Rigid. If you're looking to get into something where you had to go into one solid brand, Rigid for value of what the tools are. My first actual set of tools were the Rigid Gen 4.
Oh,
somebody stole them from me, years and years and years ago. I bought it on a complete whim at Home Depot. I was doing an enclosed patio cover years ago when I was probably 18, 19 years old, and love those tools. Ton of power. They were brushed. Ton of power. Somebody stole them, and I went with Milwaukee 12 volt after that. It was smaller, easier to yield. But I'd say if you had to get into just one brand, Rigid would be it for sure.
I like it. And Stephen R, dude, don't worry. We got you. I was just saying I didn't know which one. No one's upset. No one's mad. You're good. Chad Nichols said the Cobalt XTR is an awesome saw too. Well, in that vein, we're going to move right along to the 4.5-inch angle grinder. Again, another tool that I think is not essential to have around the house, but it's a nice luxury.
Right. It definitely is.
And what do you guys think when it comes to 4.5-inch angle grinder?
The Flex one, man, I couldn't stop it.
Well, I'm deathly afraid of angle grinders. I don't know why. I mean, I can use a bandsaw, I can use a Reciprocating. Something about an angle grinder that just scares the bejeebus out of me. But I had Milwaukee for a while for corded, and nothing special. They're okay. You probably get the similar type of performance out of a higher end Harbor Freight tool, in my opinion. But I love the Flex because of the speed control.
Yes.
I think that's a major thing to me. Plus the design of it is it takes a little bit of my fear out of my heart.
Well, I like that the Flex has that quick stop. Right. So it's got like a braking system. I will say this. I'm going to make the DeWalt guys happy right now because the DeWalt angle grinder is more powerful and is faster than the Flex.
That's got a great brake on it too, doesn't it?
Yes.
I've never used that one.
So if it were my money, you guys are going to notice a trend here. If it were my money, I would absolutely 100% go the DeWalt route.
Right.
And here's the trend. If you guys haven't picked up on this, if you've noticed, not one of us has said the same brand for every tool yet.
Right, and that's kind of where I wanted to run with it, is see some diversity out there on all these tools.
Yeah, I personally don't agree with the guys that think you have to carry just one brand or one line. I think having a mix of them actually provides you with more versatility out in the field.
Right.
And it saves your battery.
Right.
Because you're not swapping batteries out between tools. Carrying 2 to 3 brands out in the field it's not that hard, folks. I mean, you're going to run an inverter or a generator while you're out there anyway. So suck it up, Buttercup.
You know what's kind of nice? Well, I've given it away now or traded it for work or whatever. But it's nice to have one tool that has a specific task.
Sharpen.
But you don't have to worry about using your other community batteries. So, like, for example, I had a Milwaukee sander, and I've got a 6, I've got a 9, I've got a 3.
There you go.
I've got a 5, all for that sander. And I don't have to worry about using my DeWalt batteries because I'm using my DeWalt Impacts. I'm using my Flex, skill saw, whatever you're doing. You don't have to worry about trying to take from the pool of batteries that you're using for your main tasks when you're going to be using the sander for 20 minutes, here and there. So it is nice not having the same tool brand with that respect.
Right. I have my rigid right angle here. I don't have very many rigid tools, but this is by far my favorite right angle drill. And I end up using it more for stuff that's not really right angle purpose.
Yeah.
Just to use it. And I got those batteries picked up from Direct Tool for $65 for the 2 4s and a 2. And that went straight into the box that has the right angle drill. And now I have a dedicated box. I know exactly what's in that box. And I know what the purpose is for. And then, no, I don't have, 100 other tools under the rigid line.
Well, let's talk about it. Right angle drill.
There you go. This is mine.
I have like 4 different brands of right angle drill. I've got the Metabo HPT. I've got the Bauer. I, of course, have the Rigid. And I want to say somewhere around here, I think I've got the Skill, which is the 12 volt, and it sucks. I hate it. I literally gave it to my wife. That's what happens to the tools I don't like. I hand them to my wife. Jamie gives them to people that like the new guy at work. I give them to my wife. So my wife now owns like 5 Makita drills and impacts and a couple of skill tools. But for me, with a right angle drill, I am going to pick up that Rigid, the subcompact every single time. I'm not going to shy away from it. As a matter of fact, I do. Whenever I'm in a tight spot or whatever, that is the one I pick up. And now, if somebody said the M12 installation driver or the Bosch FlexiClick or Chameleon, and they wanted to, because those have right angle attachments. I know we're stretching the definition of a right angle drill, but they have right angle attachments. Or if they wanted to say the whole hog or the Joyce drill from DeWalt, they're not wrong. They're right angle drills.
Yes.
So
actually the brushed Milwaukee M12 was actually a pretty decent right angle drill.
Mm-hmm.
You could do a hole saw through a 4-square cover, 1 inch, fairly comfortably. Not the fastest, but it would get it done. If you zipped into 2 self tappers into your material cart to hold that sucker still while you were doing shenanigans, it would do it.
Well, that's nice. Oh, and I see that Renegade's Garage, she brought up Napa. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Milwaukee is going to be at Napa now as well.
Where aren't they going to be is the question.
Apparently at Lowe's.
Yeah,
I don't know if anybody's heard about that yet. I was actually looking for deals, and a Napa ad popped up, and I noticed they had $50 off. And when I had talked to my TTI rep, well, I can't call him my TTI rep now because he's got promoted and he's like national something or another. But he's the one that let me know that they are going to Napa, and they're going to be a force in there, as well as, unlike every other tool brand at Acme Tools in store, they're going to set up a Milwaukee store in store. So just the absolute
mind blowing.
But they are dominating the trades.
They are.
It's just one of those crazy things. Steven Arsos, Milwaukee's always been at Napa. I have never seen a Milwaukee tool at a Napa.
I've never even looked. I'll tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I've never even thought about it.
Yeah. And we're getting a lot of drill doughs. Zach Daddy, he said, have you tried the double-sided pounder made by Drill Doughs? No, Zach Daddy, we'll leave that to you and your husband. Hope you two are using it well, and that it doesn't destroy anything vital.
Keep it away. Keep it away.
Yep, the Milwaukee whole hog. Only have DeWalt, so I like it. Hey, that's all right. The rigid right angle and drill, and a drill in my basement. I also had old Craftsman. I like it. The rigid is very powerful. Yeah, I think I've shown it.
Right. Well, I have a Cobalt right angle drill, and before I'll put a battery on that, I would go out and buy the rigid a second time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a fan.
Well, you know what? If people think we cheated, but like, let's try an installation driver right now. What's you guys' favorite? Because DeWalt, Metabo, Bosch, and Milwaukee all make a decent one to a good one or a great one. What do you guys think of it?
I keep my Metabo right here. The only problem with it is I had to buy the offset.
Oh yeah.
It comes with right angle. Comes with right angle. It comes with the chuck. This alone, I think, was like $55.
Dang.
So yeah, it gets really pricey. But I do like, and this is the brush version. I do like the ergonomics of it. I would say if I had to pick a full blown one, it'd be the Milwaukee, but I do like the Metabo as a close second.
That's awesome. So you're going with the Metabo. What about you there, Skippy?
Man, I like the Milwaukee one. I like the battery, not the battery. What the heck? I hate the battery. I like that the battery
Right?
is not in your grip, and I like the magnet on the front a lot.
Yeah. Well, I got to say that the Milwaukee one for me holds a special place in my heart because it was given to me by Joshua
Yeah, I love
Wilson.
that.
Yeah, by Joshua Wilson. So I am going to say the Milwaukee installation driver.
And I'll add one more thing. I actually like where the forward and reverse switch is. I actually prefer it there because when you're reaching in, whether it's your left hand or your right hand,
Bumping
there's
it.
no damn buttons to be pushing with the side of
Right.
your hands. And when you're all the way like, especially if you're left-handed, you would know for sure. I don't care. You're reaching in there, and then you push the button, and you finally managed to get this thing where you want it. You've taken 20 tries to articulate and click the head 27 times to figure out what angle, where this is going to go to get this screw just right, and you're ready to pull the trigger, and nothing happens because you set it into the
It's
middle
locked.
selector switch.
Right.
And then the screw drops or whatever happens. The forward reverse switch absolutely needs to be where it is on the Milwaukee. And when you're reaching into a dark cabinet, you can quickly identify, oh crap, I'm in reverse. Oh crap, I'm in forward because it lights up. It's the best thing about that tool. I hope they don't change it.
Well, you showed up the other day when you were taking apart the antique furniture with that really wedged in their flathead screw.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, that's ideal situation. I'm like, okay, now it makes more sense.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, especially a flathead. So you finally get the flat on the screw. It's all like sideways just to get the battery and out of the way of the one piece while the thing's angled. That thing was crazy to figure out how to get the angles all in.
Right.
And then you're ready to pull the trigger, and then the screw just drops. Yeah, the forward reverse switch is in the perfect location. Kudos to whoever did the designing on that because that it's fantastic.
Yeah. As the one knock I have on the Milwaukee is actually the forward reverse button being up there. I'm just so used.
Yeah, it's muscle memory that switch is there. You have to use that tool and then figure out that it's on the top.
Yeah.
Like resetting the wheel every time.
And Renegades, I gave you a tool. I mean, you want it, but still. I sent you one. I still have like 3 cans of Break It that I need to send out. I just keep.
Oh, speaking of that, let me grab some.
I have no time.
So I found these on my roof for when I put up the Christmas lights back in November.
Oh, you need it. The Irwin.
But in Irwin's defense,
oh,
Hey, that's pretty good.
completely rusted, but still works just fine. But no, I was saving
Pretty
this.
good.
My brother-in-law comes over there and he says, "Hey, you gotta clean these things up." I said, "Waiting for my Break It. I'm gonna see how well it works."
it works.
That's my test subject.
I'll have to
There you
say
go.
that I just got to get time. Like I work.
No, don't worry about it.
I leave the house at 6 and I get home at between 6 and 7.
When you got 22-minute Tuesdays and 22-minute Thursdays and 22-minute.
Yeah.
That's part of the life.
Not saying a word.
Hey, I wouldn't be there if it was 22 minutes. So
Yeah. Let's see.
Full entertainment.
Jigsaw. Who makes the best jigsaw? This one to me is easy.
Yeah,
I know
me
you guys
too.
are split down the middle between barrel grip and D handle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he likes grabbing everybody by the D handle with his barrel grip.
But you specifically chose the D handle, so you must really enjoy the D handle.
Yeah, the double D handle.
The
You're never gonna beat me.
Yeah.
You try. It's
He's got
never
it better
gonna
than his
happen.
blood.
You lose to a guy with Alzheimer's in a battle of wits every day.
Oh, man.
JWC Tech here. He says the switch is annoying, but still installation driver is my favorite tool in the to-go tool bag tech pack out something. Scream or not. Bag.
Jigsaw.
Cody
Yeah.
Brown said the DeWalt Jigsaw is his favorite.
That's I'll be stuck between that one and the D handle from Flex.
You know,
Yeah,
I almost bought that 4-tool piece thing at Lowe's with the box that had the DeWalt Jigsaw, the oscillating tool, the router, and the sander.
Woodworker's kit or whatever
And
it
then
was.
you got the free sander with it. I still wish I had bought that, but the Flex is just too freaking impressive in every way.
I too am going to say the Flex.
Now, is there a huge power difference between the D handle and the barrel grip? I don't have the barrel grip.
I don't know, but I can tell you right now, the barrel grip is an absolute monster.
Oh yeah, I saw you cutting through like railroad ties and horses' hooves.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
It'll cut through galvanized rigid conduit 2-inch with a freaking wood blade,
right,
without bogging down.
Yeah.
Well, now we
A standard blade, to be fair, not a strictly for wood like a fine cut, but a standard wood blade.
Well, we've got to try the D handle now.
Yeah.
On the same test.
Yeah. He wants a 13-inch long D handle though. I don't know that Flex makes that one, but I went from Grizzly, which makes an absolutely amazing jigsaw. It was corded, to Ryobi, which I used once and then went back to the Grizzly.
Right.
And then to the Flex. And I have officially retired my Grizzly. That's how impressive that Flex is. So if any of you guys are real woodworkers out there, you know Grizzly, you know what kind of equipment that they make for woodworking, and that thing's that was incredible, and I ran it for like 13 years. So absolutely impressive tool, and I have retired it.
For the Flex.
You just put it down, okay.
Souls, it's good you can work again. Yeah, for a little bit. We'll see how long. I've got some health issues that are coming up again, and I actually had to go see a neurologist here lately. They think I had a stroke when I was having my surgery, so they're going to investigate that. I know. Imagine losing to a guy with Alzheimer's who had a stroke. or may have had a stroke. I'm just saying. So they're going to investigate that, and then I have some other health issues from a car accident a long time ago that has kind of knocked me out, and it's going to be pretty hairy here for the next little bit, but we'll see. But I tend to keep that stuff to myself. But since we were all in unanimous agreement, except for Joshua, who said a DeWalt on the Jigsaw, which I got to respect that. We're going to move
the DeWalt and the D handle Flex.
Trim router. Trim router is next. And I got to be honest with you. I did a video on a trim router a while ago, which again, Joshua Wilson sent me the Metabo HPT trim router. And I thought at the time that I would have used that over the rigid. But it is more difficult to see what you're doing with the Metabo. And when the battery's on top, it throws it a little off.
Yeah.
Because the batteries are quite substantial.
Right.
Yep.
That being said, I am going to stick with my rigid, and I'm going to use my rigid, but it's probably from use. Like I'm comfortable with it, and I've gotten adapted to it.
Right.
What do you guys think?
I don't use a trim router much. I do have the DeWalt that pretty much did it for me, but I'm not really one to really critique it enough to say, hey, this one over that one. So my opinion on that is probably pretty invalid on this one.
No, it's what you use, and if that's what you use, that's what you go with.
Right, it works for me. Like I said, it's not very frequent.
What's up, Kansas? Yeah. Coochie?
DeWalt.
All right.
Reading the chat here, trying to
You
figure
have,
out
a,
what.
you have the flex tactics?
No,
No.
I don't think it's
Oh,
out
they
yet.
haven't
Is
brought it
it?
out yet. That's one we're
No,
waiting
it's
on.
not out
for
yet.
April.
And you know what? Honestly, if it's overpowered, like a router is the last thing that I want, that I need,
It'll fly off the rails.
dude. It's a trim, right? Or is it a half inch?
Trim router.
It's a trim. Okay, I might be able to deal with it, dude. There's certain things that I shouldn't have. Like whenever X Tool reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you want to try out this flamethrower?" And I was like, "Yes, but no, I can't. I can't have that in my possession." You know, I just
Public safety hazard there.
yeah. The surrounding houses are depending on me not owning this tool.
Full disclaimer: something's gonna blow up.
Yeah.
true.
So, there's such thing as too powerful, and that jigsaw is almost there.
Right.
Certain things need to like shut off when you are cutting steel that's like 3/16 of an inch thick.
If you're
And
cutting,
you're literally
steel
going
with
across
your,
it this
with your camera,
fast,
you're doing it wrong.
and the saw gets in a bind, and it just like it just doesn't turn off, dude. It's like you're now part of the table.
Right.
It's like, holy crap, man! Like the thing is just a monster.
Yeah.
And the freaking Sawzall is the same way. It's huge, it's heavy, and it does not stop.
Well,
Sure.
I think that flex trim router is going to be probably on a more controlled side.
They all have speed controls. They all have you control the power.
1, 2, 3.
I will say, you know how you were saying that the angle grinder is the tool that you're afraid of?
Yeah.
Having the spinning wheel of death 3 or less than 3 inches away from my appendages, my fingers, that kind of freaks me out. Now, angle grinder, I got two places to hold it.
Right.
So it doesn't bother me a bit. I wait till the wheel stops spinning. I set the sucker down. It's an easy one to use, right? But the trim router, like I've always just in my head, and I don't know why, I've just had that image of that bit flying out and then cutting something off. Like I'm like, and it doesn't care. I'm the softest thing in my shop. Right?
And it's meant to cut through hard things.
Fuego. Yeah, the rigid fuego. That was a great line.
But
yeah, I like I absolutely agree with what you're saying here, and the trim router freaks me out. If people tell me they don't want to get a trim router or a router in general, I understand, because those are scary tools.
A trim router is probably more dangerous than like a fixed base.
Yeah,
a fixed base you can control, and you're kind of respecting a big piece of equipment, but so when you're using a trim router, you're just blazing through something, and that's when it all goes south.
It's one hand. That's the one thing. And now they do sell, like Miles Craft has a base that you can add to them that has 2, but it does make it rather cumbersome to use a trim router that way. The nice thing about the trim router, like you guys with the DeWalt, can go into a CNC,
right?
Which the kudos to them for doing that. So that's a mark in their favor.
I'm just going to tell you right now, because you know I got the Makita.
What's his name?
Yeah. and I've got the plunge base with it.
Are you pregnant?
And it's fully adjustable. It's nice, and it's not overpowered. It's actually underpowered. So but it will still do. I think I did
underpowered tool.
110 board feet of. It was just pine. It wasn't hardwood or anything.
You know, you prefer your wood hard, though.
The jokes just write themselves at this point, guys. But the Makita one has been pretty nice, especially for a novice router user.
Yeah,
it's been a good step up. I can imagine somebody getting a hold of the Flex that just comes out for their first tool as a router, and just destroying whatever appendages are next to it.
Right. That's
the Flex stuff is a monster.
Yeah. Tactics and a flamer. That's Stephen R. I agree
Fuego.
with you. So you got some Fuego tools kicking around. That's cool, collector. All right, now let's we're going to wrap it up here because it's about that time. We're going to talk, and we're just going to generalize outdoor power equipment, OPE. Right? I have Hart, DeWalt, some of the old rigid, and God, I don't know. I like Bauer, I like Harbor Freight stuff. So, what do you guys think? Like, what manufacturer has the best outdoor power equipment for your money? Maybe not even your money, but who do you think has the best outdoor power equipment? Tactics, you're sitting there. You're ugly. Why don't you answer?
That's a good. Can't argue with that.
No.
Man, I had the 40 volt Ryobi.
Yeah.
Then my buddy bought this kit, and it was actually one of your videos that made. I think the blower was free or something if you bought whatever it was from Milwaukee a couple of years ago. And my buddy just turned around and gave me all of his old stuff because he bought new stuff and got a blower for free. So he gave me the 18 volt Milwaukee. He gave me the weed eater and the blower. For 18 volts, it's kind of like the 40 volt Makita. Like, what are you doing with the extra voltage? Nothing. The Milwaukee 18 volt stuff is damn impressive. When you got your competitors going to 60 volt for OPE being DeWalt, you got 40 volts on most of the other tools, and then Milwaukee's making a weed eater with more power than a 40 volt from the same makers, essentially. The Milwaukee stuff is very impressive.
It is.
I'll say the same. I started actually and made a huge mistake with Makita because of price.
Oh man!
I used it once, and it's now sitting in somebody else's garage. I didn't want to look at the damn thing anymore. Just god awful. So I went from there. I went to Milwaukee, but I do agree with Paul W. on it. If I could plan it out and do it all over again, I would go with Ego. Because I feel that they've got the OPE further advanced down pat, pretty much over. Now I am curious to see what Rigid comes out with and what it looks like. That's one of the ones that I would probably trust a lot more as far as value for what you get in OPE, because I don't have a huge front or backyard. I don't need something that's going to cut what do you have, 18 acres or something like that.
Yeah, 16 and 16.
Yeah, so like I don't need anything crazy like that, but I think for that price point, I think Rigid's going to nail it.
I would agree with you. I'm interested in the Rigid stuff. And it's actually funny because I'm currently looking at buying an electric chainsaw. I don't like gas chainsaws, not because they're loud or powerful or whatever. I just don't want to stand there and crank something.
Right.
I'm just like, I want to cut right now.
Yeah.
Right.
You pull the trigger and go.
Yeah, right. If you use it for a living and you're maintaining the thing every day, but for the average homeowner, man, that thing sits for a while.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you get ready to use it and it won't start, and then your whatever plans you had, that hour of your time is not worth, you know what I mean? Like, just sacrifice a little bit of power.
Yeah.
And always have the thing
5-10
start
minutes
up.
extra time with less power. Sacrifice power pulling a cord.
So because as far as my lawn equipment goes, total homeowner. I've never dreamed about going pro. Spending the day in somebody else's lawn makes me sick. I'm just like, come on, let's get out there. Let's get the hell out of here.
Right.
So for me, I look at it as a homeowner. Now I have two brands that no one ever thinks of when it comes to these tools, but I have both, and I can tell you they're very high quality, good tools. And this Hart that's sold at Walmart, underrated brand, easy access to their tools, and reasonably priced.
Right.
the other one that no one talks about, and I'm kind of surprised because they made their bones doing OPE, Greenworks. I've got a Greenworks head trimmer that's 24 inches that I would put up against anything, and the thing will cut and cut. And I've used it to take down little branches off of my trees. And I would absolutely 100% say Greenworks, but not available anywhere, which to me leads the edge to Hart. And I would go with Hart for outdoor power equipment right now if I had to choose, except for the chainsaw.
Lowe's, right?
Right.
That?
So we had this conversation, and you asked me what's my thoughts on the Ryobi chainsaw, and ultimately, it does just fine. It'll cut branches this big very quickly.
Yeah.
Damn impressive. But then if you get in a bind, which you're going to get in a bind, it's almost game over. It kind of destroys itself. And then you're back to trying to retention the chain, you're tightening the thing, and the next thing you know, the bolt has slipped slightly away from the glass fiber nylon, and now you got like a little kind of janky bolt thing going on. You tighten it and you get it back where you want. You buy a new bar for the damn thing. You buy a new chain. You put it all back together. You tension it. You tighten that bolt, which is now a little bit loose.
Full of play.
And you get to cutting and you do another job. And you're cutting trees this big and this, and you're getting good battery life and all that. And then it gets in a bind. And then you buy a new freaking bar again. And you go tighten that thing up again. And by the third time that happens, it's trash because the thing should never been plastic in that spot anyway.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of I picked some of these up yesterday while I was walking around Home Depot, and I felt them. And the 60 volt, the flex volt, the wall probably felt the best. It had the best balance as far as chainsaw goes.
Right.
The prawls on the back are plastic, which not a huge deal for me, but if I were a pro, would make me avoid buying it. The Milwaukee has metal prawls on the back of their chainsaw. But I've seen the testing and whatnot on the Milwaukee. It doesn't seem to be up to snuff as some of these other ones. I having not used it, and I don't know that I trust tests that I watch on here anyway. But I want to feel them and I want to use them. So when I'm looking at it, I know I've seen dudes using the Atlas chainsaw from Harbor Freight.
Right, 40 volt, right?
80.
It's 80.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. And it's like, I want to say they've got like a 18 or 20 inch bar on them, which typically something with that big a bar has got to have power.
Yeah.
Real power. So I was kind of surprised to that. Anyone use the 6/8 hatchet? Now I'd use the steel, the little their little cordless hatchet. That I would be interested in that one, but I don't know. Maybe I end up just saying screw it and I go buy the Greenworks
this is my ultimate thought on electric chainsaws would be it's just that it's a tree. Where is it going?
Right.
Get a cord. It's not a mower. Mowers and cords are a pain in the ass. I did that once.
That's not possible.
I took that crap back.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going that far away?
Yeah.
If they made like a retracting cord so you could start away from your receptacle,
look,
and as you work your way back towards it and it like automatically retract it in.
Yeah, I am probably not going to drag at least 5 acres of cord behind me.
Oh, you have like 2 volts on your motor by the time you get the voltage drop out there.
It'll
the freaking cord is on fire as soon as you pull the trigger.
Yeah, I'll hit the bark and it'll be like, done. We're finished. Forget you, sir.
I got you.
But no, I want electric. I want electric.
The average person, the tree's not going anywhere. Get a cord.
You say that because you live in the city, sir.
That is correct.
Well, out here in
if you don't try, what's that?
Out here in California, they just passed a law that we can't use gas-powered small equipment anymore next year, starting January.
That's weird.
Man. Can you imagine the guy that just bought like
I mean, you can use it. You can't. They won't sell it anymore. You're not supposed to get it serviced. There's like approved service centers for it.
It's
There's-
so sketchy. You gotta
There-
find some guy in a back alley.
Right.
Hey
It's
man,
like, come on, you want
you
your
got
tool
any
fixed?
spark plugs, man?
Come on, I know you get your tool fixed.
I'm actually I've looked at the 80-volt Greenworks saw here in the last day or so, and I've been very impressed with it.
I think if you went Greenworks, it might be a better option because I feel Milwaukee and DeWalt especially, they get to a point with their OPE that's pretty good, but they're a power tool company. They don't specify in OPE. They're going to get it to a ceiling, a point that works for them, where all the competitors are at, and at that point, it doesn't matter what color it is. And I think they're going to get to that ceiling, and that's it. It'll work.
Yeah.
But are you getting something that's going to continue to work without a bunch of problems?
Sure.
So I think Greenworks probably is further out. Like I said, with Ego, I think you'd have a much better experience for OPE if you had to really buy into OPE.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. You know, it's Shervon.
Yeah.
Right.
I would agree with you. It's one of
I
the
would
reasons
say
why I was happy that Flex didn't bring out any OPE.
Right.
I don't want to see him crossover. Yeah.
as a tradesman, and
Look,
not somebody that's constantly
Sex is
using.
not really making you a tradesman.
You trade it for things.
Yeah, your mouth for money. Sorry,
So-
go ahead.
Yeah, the whole battery rotation thing. It's back to how many brands do you want in your arsenal? One brand isn't necessarily great because you got 10 batteries. You got to start numbering those batteries.
Right.
Then you got to start making sure that you start using them in rotation and how they're going to sit. And it's like me, my Ryobi might get a little bit of use, but I got somebody that mows my yard, and then I take care of the rest. I'll do the edging and all that stuff. So I'm not able to kill a whole, battery with just
a battery a month.
Yeah. So you got to rotate them out. So if you've got other brands that are doing specific tasks, like for example, I used to have the deep mouth cut 5.5-inch Milwaukee bandsaw.
They named it after you.
Yeah. So a 4.5-inch pipe
Wow.
is really 5 in whatever diameter. So you can cut a 4-inch conduit rigid with this bandsaw, and that's I like the name now, deep mouth. So if you have DeWalt everything, but you got that one tool that's gonna where you put a 6 amp hour battery on it, it's gonna do all your cutting for the whole day, and then you're gonna charge that battery, and it's gonna get good cycles. It's gonna get a good deep discharge, and then it's gonna get a good deep recharge, and it's gonna be a really reliable battery. A lot of your batteries that turn not so reliable are the ones that sit for a little bit.
Right.
They get used 70% of the time. You don't want to leave it on 2 bars, so you charge it again.
Right.
And then it gets used to getting, you know what I mean? So it's always best to fully drain something. I'm waiting for the joke there. Never mind.
I know it's like, oh,
What? Come on. I can't hit him with the. I thought you drained every guy all the time.
Yeah.
we're all.
So-
You already trained us to know what's coming.
You gotta rotate them out,
The guys, yeah, I'm sure you do.
So for your average tradesman, man, even just like what Joshua Wilson was saying, though, to a good point, they're going to hit that certain point to where you're trading your convenience, and that's one time that I would fully say that you need to stick with whatever brand that you have, because if you're not going to use your OPEs much, it makes perfect sense to go full Milwaukee, full DeWalt, full Ryobi, whatever you got, because you already have those batteries.
Yeah. DT, that's for you. Just gonna call him DT from now on. Deep throat. Anyway, no, I see, and I come at it different. For me, I don't care how many different tool batteries I'm carrying, how many different tool brands I'm using. I'm just gonna grab whatever's handy, and I could care less. Like, it doesn't matter to me, because I'm gonna have an inverter and I'm gonna have a generator on the job site. I can charge a battery while I go to lunch or what have you, and I come back. I actually like taking odd things out into the field with me that other people don't carry. I don't have to worry about it then.
Right.
You know, so looking at things like that, like, I don't really throat goat. I don't really care about the platform as much as other people do. It doesn't matter to me. I just grab whatever works, and that's what I use. And like for OPE,
right. I commented on one of your videos a while back that Rigid has that really small charger that they give away there. And I started thinking, man, this looks like they kind of cheaped out, but no, I think what they're trying to do is get you to carry that thing around. It fits in like a pack out box or a Rigid box, or it's so small and slim that you don't have to worry about lugging around a big old charger.
Right.
And for me, I have an inverter in my truck, just a small one, and I can't charge my Milwaukee stuff in there at work. I can charge my Rigid stuff there at work though. Used it the other day while I drove from one spot to the next to hand to the guy that drove with the battery, fully charged battery, and said, "Here you go." Couldn't do that with the Milwaukee.
See, it makes perfect sense now. And with that, guys, we have come to the end of our show. We thank you all for being here as always. If you're interested in coming on like Joshua Wilson did, our very first guest, whom we want to take a special moment to thank right now. Thank you for being here. It was fun.
Thank you guys.
It was fun. We hope you had a good time.
Absolutely.
Hope the people watching had a good time watching somebody different up here. But if you guys want to be on, you let us know. We're going to start doing this probably once. And if it goes well, we might even do it 2 or more times a month where you guys are the star.
There you go.
Good to me.
But, we're out of here. And for all you Makita guys, don't forget, blow them like you know them.